Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and it's really exciting today. I'm presenting to you the first ever banking system in Path of Exile 2. Now, sounds really complicated. It's really very simple. Have you ever wondered, you wanted Mirror of Kalandra, you earn 1 divine, and then it goes up 10 divine, every day keeps repeating, and it just seems going further and further away. Especially if you don't have too much time to play, it feels like almost impossible to get Mirror of Kalandra unless you spend like hours and hours playing the game. If only... Perhaps you're thinking, what if you had other close friends that maybe you can invest together with so that you can buy a Mirror of Kalandra? The question is, why Mirror of Kalandra out of all of them is the hallmark investment item in Path of Exile 2. Basically, Mirror of Kalandra is like your equivalent of prime real estate in New York, Hong Kong, Singapore, London, etc. etc. Basically, the rich get richer. If you buy a Mirror of Kalandra early, your wealth grows with time. But how many of us can actually get hundreds of divine early on in the league? Unless, of course, you drop a mirror. But we are all not that lucky, and luck is not something that you can rely on. But what you can rely on, of course, is what if you could buy 10% of a Mirror of Kalandra? So instead of the entire thing, what if you can just get a slice of it, and then over time you keep buying the slices until you finally get the full thing? That is much more obtainable because 10% is much easier to get than, for example, the full 100%. By the time you get 100% of a Mirror of Kalandra, it might have doubled in value and then it's like running further and further away from you. So this is not a new concept. In real life, we call this fractional shares, where if you don't have enough to buy $1,000 Tesla stock at one point, you can buy a fraction of it instead. And the same way for Nvidia and stuff like that. Fractional shares exist in the real world as well. This is just applied to Path of Exile 2 because no one comes from a finance major background as well. So I think it's a really nice way of bringing the real life stuff to benefit us in game as well. So this way, what is the benefit of this is you actually get exposure to the price movements of Mirror of Kalandra. It's really complicated how it works. I have a few examples for you to make it super easy. What this basically means is as you keep buying slices, once you get 100% of the entire slice, you can then exchange your digital Bitcoin currencies, like a fraction of Bitcoin. Imagine you can trade that in for a real life Bitcoin, whatever. It's a bad analogy, but you know what I mean. So you can get a full Mirror of Kalandra and then you can do whatever you want with it. This way is really much like, for example, slowly paying off your property loan. Once you pay it up, you get your property deed. It's pretty much more or less the same thing in terms of analogy. So the problem with this, of course, is everyone knows you buy 10% over time, you can eventually get the item. But the problem is the trust is the big issue. Who is going to be the middleman? Who is actually going to be collating all this information? What if the guy scams you? And if, for example, you don't even trust them, the randoms may scam, even if they don't do at first. As the money grows larger, imagine it's like 10 mirrors, 20 mirrors, it's very likely that these people might be more incentivized to just take it and last disappear from the face of the earth. So that is a big problem. Then, of course, other issues like who holds the mirror? Is it the largest equity holder and stuff like that? Really big problem. So a solution that I have for you, and also the presentation for this video, is the first ever Path of Exile 2 banking system that I'm going to be actually executing out as a content creator in Path of Exile 2. Long story short, I am very transparent with you guys. I'm acting as a banker, in this case, the bank building the bank. The reason why it's desirable as well, or is better than a rando on the street, is because we have brand equity. We've been doing YouTube for 4 to 5 years. To take 1 mirror and run away with 1 mirror, 10 mirrors, it's not really worth because I have been doing this for 4 to 5 years. It's kind of like my job by now. And I'm very exposed to public scrutiny given the amount of audience that we reach as well. People can just comment on Reddit and stuff like that. And it's very easy to be bring problems. So I have very little incentive to actually act as a poor middleman. And at the same time, I'm a finance professional. To me, it's fun as well to bring my real life stuff implementing in the game, especially when it changes the game and how people may play the game. It could be even a pseudo banking system as we hope to eventually push out. Of course, it's not easy. Not everyone with the said examples can be a good banker because it requires tons of administration, and you also need to be a hideout gamer. Most of your time is going to be spent administering all the administration of people buying and selling. So if a content creator likes playing the game, they probably won't do. I'm a hideout gamer myself. I trade more or less like 90% of the time. I hardly even fight. So it's perfectly situated to actually develop this system for us as well. What exactly is it? Let me give you a very quick example. Those of you who are still a bit confused. If you have different people over here investing in a certain asset, so let's just show you this bar over here. You have person A, B, and C investing in a Mirror of Kalandra. I'm also investing in a Mirror of Kalandra myself. I don't have enough for a full mirror. So we have a couple of people buying together with us. person A, person B already invests a total of 100%, and then person C wants to come along. So we will have different examples. Let's start off with the first one over here. Person A. So let's say person A buys 10 divines on, let's say, April 29, some placeholder date. And at the point of time, 29th of April 2025, let's say mirror price is 100. So with 10 divines invested at a mirror price of 100, he gets an equity of 10% of a mirror of Kalandra. Whereas I invested 40 at a price of 100, I have an equity of 40% as well. So based on this graph over here, as you can see in this diagram, if let's say he wants to cash out, which anyone that embarks on this banking system can cash out at any time they want. So let's say he sees, oh, mirror is now 200 divines. I don't want mirror anymore. I want the divines. Person A cashes out. So he sells off his 10% equity stake in a mirror of Kalandra at 200 divines. That means 10% times 200. I will return the person 20 divines, effectively doubling your investment from 10 divines to 20 divines. And as of time recording in End League, if it goes up to like 1.7k divines or something, 10%, it becomes 170 divines if you have invested in the banking system across the period of time. So that's the nice part, because your divines scale with time. It scales like a pseudo mirror of Kalandra already because you have invested in this system. Another example. Person 2, now person B over here, is not that optimistic, not that pessimistic about Mirror of Kalandra. He wants to keep investing in it. So he keeps buying divines. He already has 50 divines, 50% of equity held initially. And now when the price pumps to 200 divines like several weeks later, because Mirror of Kalandra prices naturally goes up, this guy over here now wants to pay an additional 100 divines so he can get a full divine. So he owns 50%, he buys 100 divines when the price is 200 later on. So he will get the 100% of a Mirror of Kalandra. What this means is because now you all have 100% equity, you can actually choose to cash out your equity stake, which is 100%, and then take the Mirror of Kalandra and withdraw it from the bank, and then you have a nice full Mirror of Kalandra. So it acts like a savings plan as well. Once you get the full thing, you can actually cash out your mirror. This way, notice that he paid a total of 100 here plus 50 when the price is 200. So you kind of like help you divine cost average the price as well. So when it comes down, you can buy more. When it goes up, you at least bought in at a slightly earlier price. So over time, you'll be able to afford it at a much affordable price rather than some ridiculous number right now. This way, any person will be able to eventually get the Mirror of Kalandra as long as you keep playing, because you don't get eroded by the inflation of Path of Exile 2. So number 3, another example here is person C, if you notice, has only wanting to invest in 30%, but he cannot find anyone else to buy with to make up the final like 70%. There is no issue with this as well, because I, the banker, will guarantee that you will have the equity stake regardless of whether we make the 200% or not, because I can easily just invest myself so it gets to up to 200%, but it's a guarantee system that I'll be doing for anyone who embarks on this banking system as well. You can cash out anytime, you can invest anytime in the league, there is no restriction as well, as long as we are alive and kicking. At the same time, assets will be held in guild stashes, so not in my personal inventory, so there's zero keyman risk, even if, for example, I get shot, touch wood, one day or something, at least the money will still continue as long as we have administrators who we trust on the channel as well. Now, I am very, very transparent with you guys. What is in it for me? I don't want to just like tell you a very, very beautiful story and you guys will be like suspicious. You guys are smart people. What's in it for me? What is the benefit? I'm going to tell you transparently as well. First, of course, there will be a transaction fee of between 5 to 10%, meaning if you invest 100 or 10 divines, you have to pay maybe half a divine worth of transaction fees. This just prevents people from spamming me with withdrawal and deposit requests to load me out on admin work so I don't have time to make other content. At the same time, it also benefits for me executing this transaction as well, because 5 to 10% is quite a decent amount of money to be making as a middleman tool. Even your TFT and other platforms, when they help you mirror fee, they also take a cut. So I think it's quite fair to charge a small, very small transaction fee already. At the same time, this also allows me to do more products in future. You guys know I'm from a finance background, so having the position of a bank allows me to help you even have call options on Mirror, leverage your products as well, and many, many other things that I want to do in future to bring real life stuff into the game. It becomes more or less like an investment kind of thing, which I think is a fun aspect for some of us who maybe want a proxy to IRL, which could be quite interesting. And giving me the ability with this banking system gives me a lot more liquidity to think of other things that I want to do too. Last but not least, of course, is a value add. It's a large-scale project that I want to specifically provide as a value add for members from tier 3 and then slowly opening up with tier 2 and tier 1 members as well is one of the many benefits that we have on the channel to just keep and thanking you guys for supporting the channel. And if you guys found this video helpful, do consider supporting our work by joining as a member too. It really means a lot to us and it helps us keep doing these kind of innovative things to help push the community forward. Hope you find it interesting and check out these 2 other videos which I think you might like as well. See you guys in the next video.